All right, guys. So we're all anticipating President Trump's announcement tonight that presumably he's running for president again. Maybe he comes out and he announces that he's running for Speaker of the House. Okay, I think that would be a lot more interesting than him announcing that he's running for president. But everybody expects him to run for president. And what a lot of people are wondering is if he's going to continue with some of his comments, right, about Ron DeSantis, Glenn Youngkin, Republicans that are in a position to maybe challenge him in the GOP primary for president. Now, again, Trump has come out here and, attacked Ron DeSantis. We're not going to get into everything that he said about Ron DeSantis. But we all know what he said. And Ron DeSantis was asked a question about Trump's attacks, and this is what Ron DeSantis' response was. Take a look.
We would like to know what you think about Trump's big announcement and some of the less than flattering comments he has made about you.
Well, one of the things I've learned in this job is when you're leading, when you're getting things done, you take incoming fire. That's just the nature of it. I roll out of bed in the morning. I've got corporate media outlets that have a spasm, just the fact that I'm getting up in the morning, and it's constantly attacking. And this is just what's happened. I don't think any governor got attacked more, particularly by corporate media, than me over my 4-year term. And yet, I think what you learn is all that's just noise. And really what matters is, are you leading? Are you getting in front of issues? Are you delivering results for people? And are you standing up for folks? And if you do that, then none of that stuff matters. And that's what we've done. We focused on results and leadership. And, at the end of the day, I would just tell people to go check out the scoreboard from last Tuesday night. The fact of the matter is, the fact of the matter is, it was the greatest Republican victory in the history of the state of Florida.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Ron DeSantis obviously is not directly responding to Trump in the sense that he is commenting on Trump's comments. He's just saying that, look, you're going to take fire when you're doing things right. Okay. And we're going to get more into Ron DeSantis' comments and the strategy behind his comments. Okay. So I want you guys to understand, when I do these videos, I'm not trying to divide anybody. I'm not trying to make you pick and choose. I'm analyzing political strategy. These Ron DeSantis Trump videos that will come, people will do these videos. They're going to talk about it because it is going to be all the news. And I know that people are uncomfortable with it. I know they don't want to talk about it. I know they don't want to hear about it. But that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And people should be informed on this stuff, and they should understand what is actually going on because it's in your face, right? It was obvious that it was going to come down to this a long time ago. But a lot of people really don't like paying attention to things that they're not comfortable with. However, there's no reason to not be uncomfortable with it because this is politics. Politics is full with narcissism and egos. Okay, everybody wants power. This is what happens when men try to accumulate power, especially when you have alpha personalities like what we have with Trump and what we believe we have with Ron DeSantis. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit because I think Trump is going to go with the strategy here to expose Ron DeSantis as not being as alpha as he's coming off. But people have to be comfortable with it. They got to get used to it. And at the end of the day, I think some of it is healthy because it helps you get better. And what really matters is at the end of this, if we've learned from the midterms, doesn't matter who wins, doesn't matter who comes out on top, whoever the base chooses, that's who they choose. Whoever they choose, you need to get behind that person, right? Whether it's Ron DeSantis or Trump. Otherwise, the Democrats are going to take over the country. And this is natural to politics. It happens with the Democrats. Bernie, when he was running against Biden, the progressive base was like, we're going Bernie. Is Bernie a bust? But when Biden won, what happened was they got behind Biden because they were like, we much rather have Biden than to have Republicans. Republicans got to think the same way. I'm just saying that is the important part that people got to understand. Regardless of who comes out on top, we got to get behind the person that does. Okay. I'm just saying, I want people to understand that that is the lesson that should have been taken away from the midterms. That's one of the main reasons why the GOP lost, is because the establishment in Trump clearly are divided. They're not working together, and it's leading to us losing races that we should win. And you don't want that to happen in the presidency in 2024. So again, the point of this video is to analyze political strategy. Okay, what's going on, what's happening, and go from there. So we have some polls that have come out after Trump's attacks, after the midterms, that are showing that Ron DeSantis is leading Trump in some key states in the Republican primary poll. Now, there's a couple ways that you can look at this. Obviously, after what happened after the midterms, nobody believes polls. Me personally, I would never be fooled by polls ever again in my life. Okay, it happened twice. Happened during the 2020 election. The polls said the Democrats were supposed to blow it out. It was supposed to be a blue tsunami. That didn't happen. Republicans actually overperformed. And in the midterms, it was supposed to be a red wave. That didn't happen. Democrats overperformed. So yeah, polls are kind of useless to a certain extent. So I wouldn't put too much stock in these polls. But up until now, Trump has consistently been beating Ron DeSantis in some of these polls. And now with the establishment getting on board with Ron DeSantis, you're seeing that start to change. Also with Trump's comments and attacks against Ron DeSantis, the idea is that is turning off a lot of people. A lot of people saying, look, we need to move on past this, right? This is what they're saying. However, Trump is lashing out for a reason. He's lashing out for a reason, in my opinion, that's kind of justifiable considering how the walls are closing in on him from the establishment. And when we're talking about the establishment, we're talking about the Republicans and the Democrats. You also got the Department of Justice, the Biden administration. We don't know if they're going to try to, indict Trump or whatever. A lot of that is closing in on him. So I kind of understand where Trump is coming from in the sense that he probably doesn't feel like he has many real allies. Okay. He got acquaintances. He got people that'll kiss the ring, but people that's going to ride or die with him, he probably feels like his circle is closing. So he's like, look, it's me versus the world at this point, right? And a lot of people are skeptical of Ron DeSantis because the establishment, because people like Mitch McConnell and Paul Ryan are getting behind Ron DeSantis. People are saying, look, if Paul Ryan will get behind this guy, if all these other people are going to get behind this guy, it must be something wrong with Ron DeSantis. He must be an establishment shield, right? And here's my comments on that. Is Ron DeSantis establishment? Yes, he absolutely is establishment. No doubt in my mind. Okay, he is a establishment traditional politician, and he's a damn good traditional politician. And I'm gonna tell you guys why in a minute. And this is something Trump's gonna point out. This is part of the strategy that I know Trump is gonna use because it's an obvious strategy. But Ron DeSantis, even though he's establishment, he is willing to be anti-establishment, especially when it comes to benefiting his state, right? Like, for example, he was against the lockdowns. He was against the jabs. He was for sending kids back to schools. He was against the mask. He was against all the stuff that the establishment was for. Okay, even the establishment Republicans were for some of this stuff. He was against it. Okay, which has convinced a lot of people that, hey, maybe he's not beholden to the establishment. But I will say this. Ron DeSantis' decision, considering that Florida is a tourism state, was a pretty easy decision. Okay, it was a decision between lockdown and destroy the state economy or open up and try to keep it afloat until everybody else gets their stuff together and realizes that, hey, these lockdowns are kind of useless. All this stuff is just kind of pointless. And he kind of made the obvious decision, okay? Considering that Florida is a tourism state, he kind of didn't have a choice but to stay open. I mean, so I'm just saying, he gets a lot of credit for a decision that, in my opinion, considering his state and the state economy, was not really all that hard of a decision to make. But again, that doesn't mean it wasn't the right decision. It was definitely the right decision. It just wasn't as hard of a decision as I think people are making it out to be, considering, again, how his state operates. But, Ron DeSantis just hasn't been successful there. He's also been successful in regards to managing the state economically, in regards to the culture war, being out in front of some of these issues that conservatives are really passionate about when it comes to education, when it comes to indoctrination. He just has his finger on the pulse of the base in the country. And that's what makes him a good politician. Also, what makes him a good politician is exactly what Trump is going to go after Ron DeSantis for, which is the fact that he's extremely politically savvy in how he presents himself. Ron DeSantis, before Trump, he still was a politician, but he became who he was in regards to his persona, his brand, by essentially taking the best elements of Trump and making it his. And Trump is kind of calling this out by retruthing this video from Patriot Tapes that is a very cringe ad of Ron DeSantis essentially stealing Trump's swag.
DeSantis is endorsed by President Trump, but he's also an amazing dad. Ron loves playing with the kids.
Build the wall.
He reads stories.
Then Mr. Trump said, "You're fired." I love that part.
He's teaching Madison to talk.
Make America great again.
People say Ron's all Trump, but he is so much more.
Big league. So good.
I just thought you should know.
Ron DeSantis for governor.
Yeah. So again, that's kind of embarrassing. Okay, that's kind of some beta stuff going on here, right? And this is what I'm talking about when I say that, yeah, people can be turned off by Trump now. And I'm pretty sure people are. But I think on the debate stage, it's going to be really hard for Ron DeSantis to answer for that type of stuff. Okay, that was super cringe, and it's super obvious that Ron DeSantis is a calculated politician where everything to him is a political move. It's a part of the political chess game to get where he needs to go. Even if he has to, again, kiss the ring, kiss Trump's ass, and probably, again, one of the most beta ads I've ever seen in my life, it doesn't matter. He's going to do it because it's going to help him get votes. Which, again, that's something that a lot of people don't like about politicians. They don't like the whole, well, you're changing who you are. You're pretending to be something that you're not simply to get votes. One of the reasons a lot of people like Trump is that everybody knows who Trump is. They know what they're getting from Trump. It's a good and a bad thing, right? Just like Ron DeSantis, it's a good and a bad thing. It's a good thing for Ron DeSantis because he's more politically savvy, and he's probably going to be more likely to get independent voters, Democrat voters, because he knows how to not turn them off. So again, there are pros and cons here, right? There's pros and cons here. And I think the strategy from Ron DeSantis of not attacking Trump directly is a good strategy to use initially, right? Especially if Trump keeps attacking him, because it's going to look really awkward for Trump to keep attacking Ron DeSantis and Ron DeSantis to not respond. But eventually Ron DeSantis will have to respond. They will have to be able to differentiate themselves from each other. In which I think, again, that's going to be hard for Ron DeSantis to prove that he's better than the original, okay, in an authentic way, that is. But at the same time, I think that Trump right now, I understand why he's lashing out. I understand why he's doing the attacks. I actually really don't blame him when you consider everything that's been done to him from the establishment since the day he got in office. Really, even before he got in office, the establishment was against him. I get it. I understand exactly where Trump is coming from. But I think Trump needs to take a step back and realize that he doesn't have to attack his opponents or people who haven't even decided they're going to run against him yet. He doesn't have to attack them to win. All he really has to do is present a vision for this country and to just focus on that. Focus on policies and vision. You don't have to attack Ron DeSantis. You can just stick to attacking Democrats and he can win like that. I think that's the mistake that Trump is making here. Because, again, it's going to look awkward for him to continue to attack DeSantis, and DeSantis just takes the high road. DeSantis took a page out of Trump's playbook and made it his own to be a better, more appealing politician. Trump needs to take a page out of Ron DeSantis' playbook to become a better and more appealing politician. That's what Trump needs to do. So it'll be interesting to see what he does tonight in his speech. But the smart thing to do would be to chill out on the attacks against Ron DeSantis and Glenn Youngkin and just focus on presenting a vision and a policy agenda for this country. And you can attack the Democrats as well, too. There's nothing wrong with attacking the Democrats. But he needs to focus on that. And if he does that, I think that he can kind of renew some excitement without further perpetuating this GOP civil war that is very uncomfortable for people to deal with that are currently in the base right now. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.